Well, on about this time, I guess my childhood ended. Daddy come by one day at noon and he said, Manicure, that was my nickname, his nickname for me, Manicure. He said, put your toys up, we're going to start picking cotton this afternoon. Well, I didn't take him really very seriously. I was playing out in the ash pile. Everybody had an ash pile. You burn wood in your fireplace or heating stove and your cook stove, and when you emptied the ashes out, you took them out and put them on the pile. Well, this was a real good thing for a boy to play cars in. You could cut roads, make bridges, all kind of things, put a little bit of water with the ashes. I had a real fine setup there. But he came back in a little while and said, I told you to get ready, and we're going to the field. Well, I knew he'd be serious then, so I went on in the house, and Mother had fixed me up a cotton sack out of a tow sack. I had a strap put around my shoulders. So that was my first cotton sack and my introduction to the other side of the coin. We raised our own cotton. When we got it together, we'd pick out for other people. You pick by the pound. It runs as low as 50 cents up to $2.50, depending on where you were and how good the cotton was. But I wasn't much of a cotton picker, never was. I couldn't pick much, tried. I'd probably spend about as much time under the wagon in the shade as I did out in the cotton patch, but I know it was hard work. I had enough of that. Also had another more joyous time for me was hog killing time. Well, just about every family had at least one meat hog. And when the weather turned cold, it was hog killing time. Had to have cold weather because we had no refrigeration. So what we didn't sugar cure or smoke, you had to eat it pretty fast. So we didn't have water in our place, of course, except that spring down at the bottom of the hill. So any hog we kill, we'd probably usually go to somebody else's house that had water available because water was very important to getting this hog ready to eat. The way it would work is you'd have the hog out in the pen someplace, and man in the pen with the hog with a knife, and somebody would sit on the fence and stand on the ground near the fence and shoot the hog one time in the head, hopefully one time and drop him. And the man on the ground would stick him in the heart, make him bleed. Now I'm talking about big hogs, 300, 400, 500 pounds. Well, they'd have a barrel full of boiling water, as near boiling as they could get it out in the open fire. And they'd take a winch and winch this old hog up into that barrel and scald him, so he could be the hair could be scraped off of it. So after he was scalded enough to the men's satisfaction, they'd take him out of the barrel and put him on a big old long table, and they'd go to work with their knives, well, scrapers and then their knives. And it's been said that everything about a hog was used except the squeal, and that was just about right. First day killing, for supper that night, you'd have the fresh tenderloin, which is excellent meat. Then you start sugar curing, hanging up the meat to cure, and making soap. That was what the women did. They took the pure fat off the hog and then strip it, put it into a wash tub, and they'd have an old black wash kettle sitting out there with a fire under it, bringing that water to a boil if possible. Put all that fat in there, and they put lye in it, and I don't know what else. Anyway, they mixed it and cooked it good and let it dry, and they cut it into bars with a knife. So having all that fresh meat for a few days was real good. I remember they boiled a head. Some people made head cheese, but my folks didn't. But they take the head And after it was boiled real good, it was some good meat on the head. There's not much of it, and you got to work to find it. But later on, when I was dating, I'd come in off of a date, and there'd be that old hog head sitting on the table, covered up with a tablecloth. And you just take a fork, maybe get you a leftover biscuit, and dig in that head with your fork and have a real good midnight snack.